Harry Reid and Nancy Pelosi rammed it through and made sure that the president had a bill signing ceremony. Today, I can honestly tell you, in the 16 years I've served in Washington, this is the only bill that, having become law, has grown in its opposition to it. And today, 62% of the American people want us to repeal and replace the health care bill. I'll make you this promise today. We all know that as long as Barack Obama's in the White House, we can send him a repeal bill, but he's not going to sign it. But I'll do everything I can, along with Tom Coburn and my colleagues, to make sure we defund any effort to implement this health care bill. And right before we left, a financial reform package. Financial reform. That's like health care reform. Does it strike any of you odd here that on the day the Senate voted on a financial reform, regulatory reform package, that only 3 companies in America were publicly for it? A financial reform package that was going to punish Wall Street for what they did in the financial crisis. Who were the 3 companies? Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan, and Citi. Boy, they didn't perceive this as punishment. As a matter of fact, the chairman of Goldman Sachs said, I think there's a tremendous amount of money to be made off of financial regulatory reform. What's it going to do when we conference the bill between Chris Dodd and Barney Frank? Well, I'll make a prediction to you today. We will choke down further consumer credit in this country. Credit that you apply for in your credit cards and your home mortgages, and more importantly, the credit that small business needs to buy that new piece of equipment, to expand that plant, to hire additional Americans to work. If we don't change directions, get used to 10% unemployment. Get used to confusion as it relates to your taxes. But more importantly, understand that as we've watched the details of what they've done, in fact, what their attempt is to make sure that they minimize the reward for Americans that want to take a risk. Let me assure you, this country was not built by government. It was built by hardworking Americans taking a risk and going for the reward. Remove the reward, and the American people are smart. They won't take the risk. They'll look where in the world another country emerges and says, you know what, if you want to invest your capital here, the future is unlimited. Our children deserve better, but more importantly, this country can do better than the path we're on right now. And today, the 1st of June, on this Saturday that's going to be hot, let me remind you that our opportunity has never been as great as it is right now. In the face of what we thought would be an overwhelming administration politically, the American people, like they have done historically, have started to insert the checks and balances they need to understand how to hold this administration in check. It's not just been Republicans, it's been Republicans and independents and unaffiliated, and yes, conservative Democrats that have said enough is enough. And our opportunity is to take the great candidate recruitment that our minority leader in the House and Senate, that our state party chair, that our county party chairs, our district chairs, and our national party House and Senate has done, to take their great candidate recruitment and match it with a mobilization of Republicans like we have never seen before. The opportunity is to change the direction of this country. It's to make sure that we respond to what America wants, and that's checks and balances in Washington and in Raleigh to make sure that while somebody serves out the remainder of their one term, the president and the governor, that they do no more damage. I'll make a bold prediction to you today. If the atmosphere continues, if you engage and you reach out and we touch Republicans, independents, unaffiliated, and conservative Democrats, John Boehner is going to be the Speaker of the House and Nancy Pelosi can go back to California. And I'll make this promise to you. John Boehner won't get a jet. We've got a real opportunity to become the majority in the state house and the state senate. Imagine that, Republicans finally with the responsibility to redraw the redistricting map after the census. And I'll bet you today that we do it right. That we don't do it for political advantages. We do it because we think it makes sense to geographically place people as close to the folks they represent as we possibly can. We'll have local victories that we can't even envision today with the effort that we have the potential to mount. And though mathematically I can look at you and tell you that we could become the majority in the United States Senate, I'll be honest with you, it's a long shot. It's pulling an inside straight. It's running the table. But you know what? We don't need to take the majority to have the greatest impact on change. All we need is a few more Republicans in the United States Senate, and America was smart enough to send a Scott Brown to help us get to 41. Don't look today at any race in North Carolina where a Democrat's now in office and you've got a great Republican running and say, well, we don't need to spend any time there because historically we've never won this. Did you ever envision we'd have a United States Senator, Republican, from the state of Massachusetts following Teddy Kennedy? Great things will happen if you, in fact, commit. So what do we need to do? When we leave here today, tomorrow? Voter registration. It's the top of the list. Whether it's the county party that takes it on, whether it's the women's group or the young Republicans. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to reach our hand out and ask people to be part of this change in America. Don't think that we can sit at home and that people are going to migrate to join in the Republican Party because they see that as the answer. There are too many mixed signals that come across through the national media. Not everybody sits at home at night and watches Fox and gets the true story. I remember sitting down with Karl Rove in 2004. The election of 2004 was important to me, as I told Karl. I was running for the United States Senate. His boss was running for re-election to the presidency. And I said, Karl, how are you going to win this time? And he said, Richard, I'm going to register 10 million new Republicans. Well, you might remember it was a close election. At the end of the day, when the dust settled, Karl Rove, with your help and the help of many around this country,